Hey guys, this is Michelle with Deception Bytes, and I'm so excited today because I have been um, researching today, and I'm telling you, I've got some really interesting things. And you know, I'm not much of a person for jigsaw puzzles, but if you've ever watched somebody put together a jigsaw puzzle and you don't really you haven't seen a picture yet of what it's supposed to be, and you watch them, and they get to a point where you look at it and you go, oh, I get it, I see what that's supposed to be. Okay, well, that's what happened to me today when I was researching all this stuff. All of a sudden, I just got to a point where, oh my gosh, I get it. And I've really got some interesting things today. I'm going to kind of stay on one post that Q did. And I know that it may take us a long time to get through all of these, but at least we'll have a very good understanding. And this is critical to understand. I'm telling you, it just kind of all came together for me, and I realized what was actually happening and what Q is actually trying to tell us. And I don't know. It's been exciting, but a little scary too. But it's just been. I love that. I love that feeling when you finally get something. So let's start on this because it's going to take me a little bit to get through this, but I'm going to try and get through it in a good amount of time and try not to drag it out too much. So that's kind of difficult for me. So, oh, and I wanted to thank Cambry Fox for the coffee. Thank you so much. You are so sweet. And you're my person of the day. Well, actually, you may be my person of the week, but I enjoyed the coffee. Thank you so much. So we're here on November 5th, 2017, and this was posted at 1:55 on Q 4chan under Q-anon. So it starts out, Seth Rich only mentioned here because it directly relates to Saudi Arabia. And then he says Las Vegas. So he's telling us, and you remember who Seth Rich is. He is the person that he was a DNC worker, and he was walking home in Washington, D.C., and he was shot. They say that it was a robbery, but it definitely was not. And there's a lot of people that believe that he was the one that leaked the emails to WikiLeaks. So that's kind of where he comes into all this. And Q is telling us that he is directly related to Saudi Arabia. Las Vegas. And here, really, after going through it all and understanding it all, I see that he's telling us that Las Vegas is tied into Saudi Arabia as well. Then, what hotel did the reported gunfire occur from? Well, we know that it was Mandalay Bay, and that should be in red because that's my comment there. And what floors specifically? Well, we were told it was floor 33, and as far as I know, that's where it came from. There has been erroneous reports of gunfire coming from the fourth floor, but that has been debunked as a strobe light. So we know that shots were not coming from the fourth floor. They were coming from the 33rd. I also happen to believe, and we'll get into this a little bit later down, that there were more than one gunman. I think that that's quite obvious, and I honestly don't know how anyone, after looking into it, could believe that there was only one gunman. It's kind of like the whole JFK thing. It's like if you believe the magic bullet theory, honestly, you need to get some help. Because, I mean, that was the most ludicrous thing I'd ever heard. So, who owns the top floors? Well, the top floors of the Mandalay Bay are owned by, curiously enough, Bill Gates and Prince Al-Waleed. I can never pronounce his name. Al-Waleed. My tongue just does not go into those gymnastics. Bill Gates and Saudi Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal. Now, where have you heard that name before? Well, of course, you've heard Bill Gates. Of course, the whole world's heard of Bill Gates. But this Saudi prince was the prince that was overthrown in the Saudi Arabia purge. He was overthrown by, well, they call him MBS. It's Mohammed bin Salman, I believe. and that's who overthrew him. And he, Prince Al-Waleed, has been tied to the various factions that have been working with rogue parts of our government in funding ISIS and so forth. So we'll get into more of that, but that is who owns the top floors, interestingly enough. And here, let me see what I put here. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. This Al-Waleed said to Donald Trump on his Twitter, "You are a disgrace, not only to the GOP, but to all America." I mean, this piece of trash. You know what? I was going to call him a dog, but that would be an insult to dogs everywhere. He says, "Withdraw from the U.S. presidential race, as you will never win." Oh, really? Really? And this guy right now is being held at the Ritz-Carlton in Saudi Arabia, and he is being questioned and held there. He is the one that really bankrolled all of ISIS and all of these factions. He's in with rogue elements of the CIA. We're going to get into all that, but it's very interesting. Okay, the top 5 floors of the Mandalay Bay Hotel, 35 to 39, is the Four Seasons Hotel. Now, and the Four Seasons Hotel is owned by a company that Al-Waleed owns as well, interestingly enough. Since 2007, Bill Gates, who donated $1 million to gun control, and Saudi Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal, a member of the Saudi royal family, have been majority owners of the Mandalay Bay Hotel's Four Seasons. The Saudi royal family members often reserve whole floors for their private use. Talal hates Donald Trump, and on December 11th, 2017, Talal sent a Twitter message to presidential candidate Trump that read, "You are a disgrace, not only to the GOP, but to all America. Withdraw from the U.S. presidential race, as you will never win." What did he know? Talal is the second largest shareholder in Twitter, with, isn't that interesting, seeing that Donald Trump's Twitter went down? Which is ironic when you consider the fact that he was arrested on Saturday by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who is friendly with Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Talal is the second largest shareholder of Rupert Murdoch's News Corp, example Fox News, and the largest Holy Bible manufacturer. Don't you think that's a conflict of interest? In my book, killingireland.com, pages 237 to 248, I explain how Talal has been behind the purge of key passages from the Holy Bible and the insertion of references to a new world order and turning Jesus Christ into Lucifer. The connection between the recently arrested Saudi royal family and Mandalay Bay Hotel in Vegas is interesting because it explains why there is no evidence of Stephen Paddock carrying all of his weapons to his rooms on the 32nd floor. And it wasn't just one room, it was 2 rooms. If you look at those 2 blown out windows there, that was 2 rooms. They said, oh, it was a corner, it was an end unit, so it was 1 room. No, it wasn't, it was 2 rooms. So, where did I leave off there? Point to it, somebody. I hate when that happens. Okay, that to his rooms on the 32nd floor, because the guns weren't carried up 32 floors. They were carried down 3 floors from the 35th floor of Al-Waleed bin Talal's Four Seasons Hotel. So, this is really, really interesting. And I find that part about the Bible really interesting because, I don't know, in my circles, this has been talked about a whole lot, how the Bibles have been changing and how things have been taken out, things that really changed the whole meaning. So it's just interesting. In a shocking development, Saudi press Al-Mayadeen reported late on Saturday that prominent billionaire, member of the royal Saudi family and one of the biggest shareholders of City News Corp and Twitter, not to mention frequent CNBC guest Al-Waleed bin Talal, along with 10 senior princes and some 38 ministers, has been arrested for corruption and money laundering charges on orders. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. on orders from the new anti-corruption committee headed by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, while royal princes' private planes have been grounded. Among those fired and or arrested are the head of National Royal Guards, Mitim bin Abdullah, the Minister of Economy and Planning, Adel Fak... Oh, these names, I'm sorry. And Admiral Abdullah bin Sultan bin Mohammed Al Sultan, the commander of the Saudi naval forces. As the local press further adds, the Supreme Committee, chaired by Crown Prince and billionaire, stops on charges of money laundering. Al-Waleed bin Talal is perhaps best known not only for his periodic CNBC appearances, but for his recurring on and off spats with President Trump. Now, I don't think that I'm going to go on with this because we've got a lot to get through, but this is certainly something that you can look up for yourself. And it's just all of this, I don't know, I'm telling you, it just all came together with this one post. Let me get back to where I was. So, yeah, they own the top floors. And why is that relevant? Because it's related to the shooting, and we're going to see that. What was the shooter's name? Stephen Paddock. But I don't for 1 minute believe he was a shooter. I think he was involved. I do believe he was a CIA asset. But I don't believe that he was a patsy. I believe that he was exactly like, JFK, Oswald. It's exactly like that. He was a patsy. He was just a useful idiot, so to speak. I'm not saying that the man's an idiot. I don't know anything about him. But I'm just saying that they used him. And I don't believe for a moment that he actually carried it out. And you've even had members of the Marines say that the weapon that was involved in those shootings is very, very difficult to handle. And that even a Marine who is in top shape would have had difficulty handling it with that many shots. And then you have this flabby middle-aged man, and something doesn't add up there. When you have Marines saying, gosh, we're in shape and I don't think we could do it. There's something wrong with that picture, because you can tell by looking at him. He was a little bit flabby and middle-aged, and I don't mean that disrespectfully at all. I'm just saying he did not look like he was in tip-top shape. So, were there any eyewitnesses? Yes. Oh, and what, up here, what was his net worth? At least $2 million. His net worth was at least $2 million. And he did do a lot of gambling, but his money was coming from somewhere else. You can't just keep gambling and always keep winning. It's not set up that way. Anybody that knows anything about gambling and about Las Vegas knows that. They're not in business to lose money. How do you identify a spook? I'd say historical data collection. You collect their movements, their bank accounts, and so forth, and I think that you can have a pretty good idea. And I think that Q agrees, because he says, what can historical data collection reveal? Well, it can reveal their movements, what countries they've been in and out of, what money's been deposited in and out of their accounts, all sorts of things. Were there any eyewitnesses? Yes. Who? Security guard, Jesus Campos. Was he registered as a security guard? No, he was not. Why is MS-13 important? Well, I think we touched on this before, and it's important for a number of reasons. I think that they're doing MS-13 is maybe doing some of the dirty work. So this may be Q hinting that MS-13 may have been involved because they're expendable. I don't know. What doesn't add up? Well, it doesn't add up to me that there was just one shooter. And it doesn't add up to me that Stephen Paddock was even involved. And I'll tell you why. I was up that night that this happened, and I watched all night. I just watched news, and I watched, Periscope. People that were there with live, I was watching that all night. I actually turned off mainstream news, and I actually went to the internet, and I was looking at people that were posting things on their Twitter and Periscope and so forth. So I I knew right away that there was more than one shooter because you could hear it. You could hear, you could hear gunshots over gunshots, and I'm telling you, it's obvious if you listen to the tapes, really listen to them, that there's more than one. Not only that, but in the tape or the video about the taxi driver, and it's a female taxi driver. I thought it was a man because she has a really low voice, but she's outside of the Mandalay Bay and she hears shots. Well, at first they're up close. You can hear these shots, and then you hear shots far away. And it's obvious they're not coming from the same place. It's obvious. So these are just some of the things that tipped me off that, there's more than one shooter here. And not only that, but you've got all the eyewitnesses who, by the way, are dying one by one. The witnesses that say, wait a minute, there was more than one shooter. There were shooters on the ground. They were following us. They were right behind us. There were shots coming from overhead and down, and that would have been the ones from Mandalay Bay. But there were also shots like into the crowd from below. So I don't know. I tend to believe these people. They were there. We weren't. And why would they lie? What possible motive would they have to lie? And you can say, well, they're mistaken. That's a lot of people that were mistaken then. A lot. So, that doesn't add up to me. Was there only one shooter? No, definitely not. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that I am necessarily always right, but I'm quite convinced on this. Why was JFK released? And he's talking about the JFK files that were just recently released. And I think that the timing is important because Q was sending, or the president was sending a message. He's sending a message. So what was that message? Well, in the JFK files, what did they infer? Well, they inferred that they knew that more than one shooter was involved, but they hid it from the public. So that's important. That was something major that came out in those JFK files. They knew that there was more than one shooter, but they hid it. So maybe Q is telling us here that they know that there's more. Well, not maybe. I believe. I'm convinced that Q is saying there was more than one shooter, and they know that there was. But they're hiding it because it does not fit with their official narrative. Who was in Las Vegas during this time? Well, curiously enough, the Saudi Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal was there, but so was Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So the good prince, so to speak, and the bad prince were there at the same time. Interesting. Very, very interesting. What was the real mission? Well, I said the real mission was to take him out. But when I say take him out, I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure if the good ones were trying to take out, MB, what do they call them? MBS? Forgive me for my clock, I know it's loud. It's very loud and very old. So I'm not sure if the bad prince was trying to take out, the bad prince and his, minions were trying to take out the good prince, or if the good prince was trying to take out the bad prince, because I think it's the other way around. The more that I look at this, I think that Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal was trying to take out MBS, Prince MBS, because the prince, the good prince, was extracted from the Tropicana. And I did have a picture. I don't think I included it. There is a picture out there of him being extracted from the Tropicana, and you'll notice that lots of people said that there was shooting at the Tropicana and that there was something major going down. So he was extracted and taken to safety. So I'm thinking that probably these guys were out to get him, because it wasn't that long after this that the big purge happened and all these guys were arrested and detained. So it's interesting, isn't it? It's all connected to Saudi Arabia. And then Q is saying speculate. Well, that's what I just did. I don't know that that's fact. It's pure speculation, but I think it's speculation based on some fact. So I guess it's an educated guess. Why are survivors dying randomly? It's a good question. Why are survivors dying randomly? What do they all have in common? Well, they're dying because they're testifying to a scenario that is contrary to the accepted mainstream media narrative. That's why they're dying. I believe that with all my heart. And what do they each have in common? Well, they were all eyewitness accounts. All of their eyewitness accounts go against the acceptable narrative of one shooter. Every single one of them that has died. Now, we're going to get into something very interesting that I didn't know. There's lots of things I'm finding that I didn't know in all this. Okay. Did they talk on social media? Yes, they did. What did they say? They all said there was more than one shooter. Were they going to form a group? Now that's interesting. I don't know, but by the very fact that he asked that question, I bet you they were. I doubt he would have asked that question and not known the answer to it. I really don't believe he would have. So I'm thinking that they were. Why is this relevant? Well, if they were going to form a group, I mean, you get a lot of people together testifying of the same thing, makes it a lot more credible than if you're on your own out there saying something. So it's more of a threat to their narrative. And how did they die? Well, they died in, I think 4 of them died in a car crash. I read on there 2, but I think since then 2 more have died in a car crash. Someone please put in the comments below, because you guys are really good about that and have added some really interesting information and really kind of filled out my education on this as well. So, and I know that other people read through the comments as well. So don't be shy about leaving a comment. So car crash, hit and run, and 1 died in her sleep. And that one's very suspicious to me. I mean, they're all suspicious, but that one, she was really young. I mean, really young and really healthy. You could look at her and see she was healthy. Now, we're going to get into something very interesting. What CIA report was released by WikiLeaks? Interesting. Let me just pull this up here. I better put this in red so you'll know it's mine. Well, WikiLeaks came out with a report that the CIA could control cars. Now, just to show you that I didn't just grab this from my butt, I'm going to go to the news thing. I think it was on here. Maybe I did the wrong one. Oh darn. Oh gosh, I did the wrong one. I linked to the wrong one. Hang on. Oh, that's what they had in common. WikiLeaks. Where is that? Here we are. Sorry. First day with the new brain. Well, I could have done my laundry in the time that it takes that to come up. Maybe mowed the lawn. I don't know. Cleaned the house. Something. Okay. Here we go. What we know about car hacking, the CIA, and those WikiLeaks claims. Okay. Tucked into WikiLeaks' analysis of a trove of documents allegedly from the Central Intelligence Agency is a stunning line that the agency has looked into hacking cars, which WikiLeaks okay, I'm sorry. The agency has looked into hacking cars, which WikiLeaks asserts could be used to carry out nearly undetectable assassinations. In making its claim, WikiLeaks links to meeting notes from 2014 listing potential mission areas for the CIA's Embedded Devices branch, which includes vehicle systems and QNX. The leaked documents, which the Washington Post could not independently verify and the CIA has declined to confirm, well, of course they would decline to confirm it, do not appear to suggest the vehicles to be used for assassination. Oh. I don't think it'll let me read anymore because I don't have a subscription to the Washington Post. Dang it! But anyways, that gives us a little bit of something there. And there's also, down here, I wanted to link to this as well. And I'll just, wait. And there it comes. Okay, now here's another one that, really isn't related, but I just think it's very interesting. And, well, I guess it is because it lists cars as well, but it says WikiLeaks. The CIA is using popular TVs, smartphones, and cars to spy on their owners. I think most of us are aware of this, but I will tell you, I have a dear friend, and when she told me this, I thought she was stark raving mad and told her so. And I said, you have lost it. There is no way my television is watching me. And I believed with all my heart that she'd lost it. But the more I started looking into it and the more I started reading about it, it's true. It is true. And I don't know. It's like George Orwell, 1984, Big Brother's watching us. The latest revelations about the U.S. government's powerful hacking tools potentially take surveillance right into the homes and hip pockets of billions of users worldwide, showing how a remarkable variety of everyday devices can be turned to spy on their owners. Televisions, smartphones, and even antivirus software are all vulnerable to CIA hacking, according to the WikiLeaks document released Tuesday. The capabilities described include recording the sounds, images, and private text messages of users, even when they resort to encrypted apps to communicate. Now, I'll tell you something that I noticed a while ago, and I don't know. Maybe somebody can, put something in the comments below, because this seems nuts to me, but I sometimes am convinced that my computer listens to me, because one day I was joking to somebody about adult diapers, and not that I wear adult diapers, but I can't remember. I know somebody was having an operation and needed them, and I was joking with them about it. And so I said that out loud. I never typed it into my computer. I've never looked for adult diapers online. I don't have a baby. I've never had a child. There's no reason for me to ever. Well, all of a sudden, I had all these ads popping up on Facebook and everywhere for adult diapers. Now, that's strange to me. I don't know. I've never heard anybody else talk about that. If that's happened to anybody else, please put it in the comments below, because I really thought I was losing it. I thought, wait a minute, I didn't type that in. I didn't send it to anybody on email or on Facebook, or I don't understand why they would be. But anyway, enough of that. Okay, so the CIA, according to WikiLeaks, can control cars, and that there were reports back a number of years about them using cars to commit indetectable assassinations. So is this what happened in these car crashes? I don't know. I think that Q is hinting at that. I think that that's what he believes, or she believes, whoever this is. But I don't know how you would determine that. What can control a car? Well, the onboard computer controls the car. Like I said CIA, but it's not really the CIA in your car. They'd probably get hungry. But anyway, that's it. It's them controlling through the computer. So how did 2 other survivors die? car crash, and one died in her sleep, and one was a hit and run, and I think there was a couple more car crashes as well. And then Q asks, car crash? Yep. How does this connect to Saudi Arabia? Well, this was carried out by rogue forces within Saudi Arabia government, but they wanted us to believe it was a lone gunman. So this was carried out by rogue elements within the Saudi Arabian government. What just happened in Saudi Arabia? There was a purge, and the big purge, and we've already talked about that if you've heard my other videos, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that you're listening to concerning this, and I'm sure you've heard lots about that already. Who owns the top floors of the hotel? And we've already gone over that. It's Prince Al-Waleed and Bill Gates. Prince Al-Waleed's company, Kingdom Holding, owns the Four Seasons, i.e. the one in Mandalay Bay Towers. And what happened today in Saudi Arabia? Well, that day was the 5th, the 5th, and that was the day of the purge. And so that's what he's referring to. Who specifically? And it was to Prince Al-Waleed and several of the other princes, but he was the head honcho there. Was POTUS in Las Vegas that night? Now, I'm not sure what he's referring to here. I don't think he's referring to when this is, this was posted on the forum on November 5th. Now, he couldn't have been talking about November 5th because he said that night. So was he talking about the night of the shooting? That's what my understanding would be. But I did not, or I could not find where he was present in Las Vegas that day, but he was there the day after. And he came the day after. And why was he there? He was there to talk to victims. But interestingly enough, that was a closed meeting. So it said, who did he have a classified meeting with? It was the victims. He met with them privately. So that tells me something right there. Why would Trump have met with them privately? Why would that not have been a good photo op for him? I think it would have. You see, when Princess Diana was alive, she would go into the hospitals, or you see, whoever going into hospitals and visiting people, and that's wonderful publicity for them. So why would he have foregone that publicity to make it private? Well, one of two reasons. Either he was being sensitive to their needs, or he was going to ask them information. Could be either. I think it was probably the latter. Did Air Force One land at McCarran? Now, McCarran is the main airbase, or the main airport there at Las Vegas, and yes, he did. He did land at that airbase. What unmarked tail numbers flew into McCarran that night? Well, now, let me go through and read the rest of these first before I comment. It says, trace Air Force One that entire day. What do you notice? Classified. Q. Well, I did see something where an airplane came in that was marked. It was marked as I think Southwestern. I'm not sure, but it wasn't. And I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about here, but I know that there was a video out there that I saw about this, that there were airplanes that the tail numbers or whatever, it was mismarked. And there's speculation about that it may have been involved in getting the good prints out of there. I don't know. So I don't know if that's what he's referring to, that perhaps Air Force One was there, but it was unmarked, and that's how they got the prints out of there. I don't know. Maybe somebody else knows more about this than I do. I'm sure there are lots of people that do, and I'm sure that at least one or two of them must be listening. So that is where we are there. Now, I'm just seeing if I missed anything here. What is this? I just don't want to miss anything. I'm going to go to something that's going to kind of wrap it all up for you, but Oh, yes, yes. I found this, which I thought was interesting. Oh, I hate all these advertisements. It drives me crazy. Okay. American mercenaries are torturing Saudi elite. Rounded up by new crown prince and billionaire Prince Al-Waleed was hung upside down just to send a message. Now, I don't know. I just found this, thought it was interesting because it kind of goes along with everything. Yeah, and they're talking about Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal, an investor worth at least $7 billion, who is being held at Riyadh's Ritz-Carlton. Arrests were ordered 3 weeks ago by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Source claims mercenaries are from Blackwater. Boy, I could tell you a story about Blackwater. Oh, yes, I could. A true story. But I'd like to continue living. A claim also made by Lebanese president. But its successor firm denies it has any operations in Saudi Arabia whatsoever and says its staff abide by U.S. law. Americans who commit torture abroad can be jailed for up to 20 years. So, I don't know. I know that there is a whole lot going on in Saudi Arabia, and apparently it's between these rogue elements in the Saudi Arabia government who have been funding, they've been providing money to people like, the Clinton Foundation, the Clintons, the Bushes, Obama, and in return, they get weapons. So it's our weapons that are actually, arming ISIS. And that's just a fact. So what has happened is, it's been cleaned up. We've got, apparently, this crown prince now, Mohammed bin Salman, is wanting to carry things above board now and clean up, and has a much more progressive attitude, much more liberal attitude. So I guess we'll see. But I would say that it's a good thing. I mean, ISIS has virtually been wiped out. Now, and there's that dude. I'm sorry, but he's got a very unfortunate face. That's the guy that, was on the top of the, he was up there the night that the shooting took place in Las Vegas. And here are pictures of, this is the people that are just on the floor in the, says, dozens of princes, senior official, and businessmen, including cabinet ministers and billionaires, have been detained in a function room of the Ritz-Carlton. Now a source says they are being subjected to torture by American mercenaries. I wouldn't doubt that. I would not doubt that, but I don't know. That could be misinformation too. I mean, we know that they're there. We know that the people that are being rounded up are the people that have been supplying ISIS, and that's a good thing. Beyond that, I don't know. So, again, you can look that up for yourself if you wish. Wanted to make sure that I haven't missed anything else. Okay. Now, this is what I want to do right now. Okay. Did I go to here? I just don't want to miss anything because there's just so much good information out there. No, I did not go here, and this is important. Okay. Saudi Crown Prince mass purge upends a long-standing system. I love this picture, actually. I don't know. I'm an artist, and I love it. Anyway, it's just very well done. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman Center at the Future Investment Initiative last month in I can never pronounce that. Saudi Arabia. A midnight blitz of arrests ordered by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia over the weekend has ensnared dozens of its most influential figures, including 11 of his royal cousins, in what by Sunday appeared to be the most sweeping transformation in the kingdom's governance for more than 8 decades. That's pretty significant. The arrests, ordered by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman without formal charges or any legal process, were presented as a crackdown on corruption. They caught both the kingdom's richest investor, Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal, and the most potent remaining rival to the crown, Prince Power, Prince Mutab bin Abdullah, a favored son of the late King Abdullah. Prince Mutab has been removed from his post as chief of a major security service just hours before the arrests announced last Saturday night. All members of the royal family were barred from leaving the country, American officials tracking the developments said on Sunday. With the new detentions, Crown Prince Mohammed, King Salman's favored son and key advisor, now appears to have established control over all 3 Saudi security services, the military, internal security services, and the National Guard. For decades, they had been distributed among branches of the House of Saud clan to preserve a balance of power in Saudi Arabia, the Middle East's biggest oil producer and an important American ally. In the same stroke, the Crown Prince has cowed businessmen and royals across the kingdom by taking down the undisputed giant of Saudi finance. And over the last several weeks, he has ordered enough high-profile arrests of intellectuals and clerics to frighten the remainder of the academic and religious establishment into acceding to his will as well. Apolitical scholars who used to speak freely in cafes now look nervously over their shoulders as Crown Prince Mohammed has achieved a degree of dominance that no ruler has attained for generations. It is the coup de grace of an old system, says Chas W. Freeman, a former United States ambassador. Gone, all power has now been concentrated in the hands of Mohammed bin Salman. Why the Crown Prince acted now, whether to eliminate future opposition or perhaps to crush some threat he saw brewing, was not immediately clear. At 32 years old, he has little experience in government before his father, King Salman, 81, ascended to the throne in 2015, and the prince has demonstrated little patience for the previously staid pace of change in the kingdom. He left Saudi Arabia into a protracted military conflict in Yemen and a bitter feud with its Persian Gulf neighbor Qatar. He has taken on a business elite accustomed to state subsidies and I'm not even sure what that word is. That's odd. Do you guys know what that word is? I mean, I've got a master's in English and I don't know what it is. Am I stupid? By laying out radical plans to remake the Saudi economy, lessen its dependence on oil, and rely instead on foreign investment. And he was squared off against conservatives in the religious establishment with symbolic steps to loosen strict moral codes, including a pending end to the long-standing ban on women driving. That's big news, actually. Crown Prince Mohammed's haste, however, may now come at a price, because the lack of transparency or due process surrounding the anti-corruption crackdown is sure to unnerve the same private investors he hoped to attract, including through a planned stock offering, we heard about that last video, of the huge state oil company Aramco. So, I don't think I need to read all of this. But it is interesting. It's very interesting. It just kind of helps round everything out a bit for us. So that is it for the post, but I want to go to, I've kind of written down just kind of my thoughts in trying to kind of just bring this all into focus, because like I said, it was like a jigsaw puzzle and there was like little pieces everywhere, and now to me, I'm starting to see what that puzzle is forming, and it's exciting and frightening. But I want to see if I can help bring this into focus for maybe some of you guys as well. So we had Las Vegas, like that happened, and then right after we had the shakeup in Saudi Arabia. So the purge in Saudi Arabia was to rout out the criminal networks that were working with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. That's what it was for. Hillary, Obama, Arab Spring, Muslim Brotherhood, they are the ones behind ISIS. Prince Al-Waleed is the central figure. The billionaire has privately funded the PMCs, which is private military companies, and these are who are involved in the armed skirmishes that are currently happening. Now, we're not getting a lot of that on the mainstream media, but there is an actual civil war that's happening there. There was a fear, I guess it was around the second week in November, going back, there was a fear that there was going to be, that the Yemenis nationals would create a false flag within the U.S. But they were, now that didn't happen as far as I know, but they were CIA proxies who were and are rogue, and now their total infrastructure has been dismantled by Trump. They're kind of desperate because their funding's been cut off. You know, their infrastructure is in, ruin. So these rogue CIA operatives no longer, the money's not coming in. Everything's been cut off, and they're desperate. So there was a fear that they were going to create a false flag, and it would be CIA proxies, but it would be blamed on Yemenis nationals. Now, let me say something else about that. The intercontinental ballistic missile that was fired from Yemen into Saudi Arabia, well, interestingly enough, Yemen does not have the ability. They do not have that ability or capability at all. And that missile was American. So, wonder who did that. Obviously, it was rogue elements in the CIA. And I think that's what Q had alluded to before. I kind of missed that, but it makes sense to me now. So now, in terms of these CIA proxies or whatever, they are desperate because the money source, who was Prince Al-Waleed, has been captured, and he and other, quote, bad actors are being detained in the Ritz-Carlton. They've emptied, like, there's no guests there. They've emptied the hotel, and that's what it's being used for at this time. And down here, I say the same thing. The intercontinental ballistic missile from Yemen is a curious thing. They don't have the capacity for launching one. And it was an American missile. So, hello, this should tell us a lot. And the next thing we will see in play will be Yemen. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Remember, last February, 2017, Trump ordered a Navy SEAL raid in Yemen, okay? And it killed a couple of Navy SEALs. And Trump told us, quote, "We have gathered very vital intel." So then, immediately afterwards, McCain comes out and he's discrediting Trump and saying that the raid was not appropriate, blah, 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 blah. So I think this was really, really key that he went in there, and I think he was doing some cleaning up back then. And I think that McCain knew that and didn't like it because he's in there like a dirty shirt. And we're going to see some pictures of him with Al-Qaeda just below. I've got some pictures. He's all cozy with them. The information that was gathered in Yemen uncovered them all of them, the bad actors. Notice that it was soon after that McCain had his brain surgery. Dun, dun, dun. Remember that a McCain-linked nonprofit received $1 million from Saudi Arabia. So he plays a big part in this, a big part. He was also photographed with the leaders of ISIS before the group was even created. I think this should be a huge indication of his involvement. So, on the night of the shooting, and I've already said this, I'm just reiterating. On the night of the shooting, in Las Vegas, Prince Al-Waleed was at the Mandalay Bay. Prince Mohammed bin Salman was extracted from the Tropicana wearing civilian clothes and rushed to safety. So, that's some interesting stuff. I'm just saying. Now, these are some interesting pictures. And, I'm not anybody special. I just went out there and Googled and found them. So, and there's lots more. So you can go out and look for yourself and see these very same pictures. But here is Republican Senator John McCain. Secret trip to Syria in 2013 to meet with freedom fighters. And this guy right here, yeah, him, the guy with one eyebrow, He's a former Al-Qaeda operative, Abu Mossa, now ISIS press officer. And this is ISIS Caliph, I guess they mean California, I don't know, Abu, I don't know. He was trained in Israel with American tax dollars. I guess that's what we need to know in all this. I can't pronounce their names. And then over here, this guy with another unibrow, that's Muhammad Noor, suspect in the kidnapping of 3 hostages shown in ISIS beheading videos. Nice, lovely guy. Wouldn't you love to have him over for tea? Now, you know, here we are again. More ISIS. Oh, and here we are with John McCain and ISIS Caliph. First day with the new lips. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Yep. There they are. Bet they're having a good old gum flap there. And let's go down here. Oh, here we are. Secret trip to Syria. Meets with rebel fighters. A nice guy. Oh, and we don't want to leave out the neo-Nazis. No, really, we don't. So here's, this guy is a neo-Nazi, and here's McCain with him, and, you know, shaking his hand or about to, because we don't want the neo-Nazis left out. Certainly not. And this is just a closer up picture. I like whoever put this together. They put, did everyone forget about this Kodak moment? ISIS leader and U.S. Senator. One of these things just doesn't belong there. Well, that is it for this one. I think that I have gone on quite enough. And I know we haven't got very far with the Q post tonight, but I did want to, this is really critical to understanding a lot, because the Las Vegas shooting was connected to, and I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm not one of those people that say the shooting didn't happen. It happened. I just don't believe that it was done by one gunman, and I don't believe that, I mean, I believe it was planned. Well, obviously it was planned, but it was carried out by rogue elements in Saudi Arabian government. That's what I believe. So if anybody has anything else to say about that, please leave a comment. If you think that I am, you know, completely off my nut, just, you know, let me know nicely, and I will talk to you guys soon. I'll be probably uploading another video maybe tonight, probably tomorrow. Talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.